that you've done to understand identity as both positive and limiting, because I know
Mm.
it's something we've talked about quite often. Where do you stand with that now? And where, how does groupthink kind of affect that whole thing? And if we look at the different tribes and the different ideas and the different fights, it's a big topic, but what do you
I
got to say,
was
Bill?
I was gonna say this is a really, really, really big topic. So I have sort of pivoted all my work to focus on a particular central theme, which is the idea of habits and how our behavior shapes who we are and how we experience our lives. And even what we were just talking about, like, having strong structures and strong systems in place, like we have those for our own lives and for our own identity. And while I've been working with people and clients through their habits, I kind of was really, really fascinated by how habits inform your identity and vice versa. I actually made a video on that the other day about how, if you are vegan, for example, it doesn't require any willpower to say no to a steak, right? Versus if you don't say I'm a vegan, you just say I'm going to try eating more vegetables. Someone offers you a steak, you'd be like, but I really like steak. I think I'm, yeah, you know what? So there's this element of like how your behaviors will inform the decisions that are made automatically. And I was kind of fascinated by, what informs that. I think ultimately identity is identity is a construct, and it's a really useful construct, right? It's a construct that we use to navigate interpersonal relationships, create context for ourselves in the world, create an experience of an individualized self. And it's informed and created by a multitude of different factors, including your upbringing and what you were taught about the world and who you are in terms of the context that you've had in your family. It's informed by any form of social conditioning in terms of social narratives and media exposure and all kinds of stuff. And it's informed by the feedback loops that you have in terms of your behaviors and the results that you had. But ultimately, it's an intangible thing that we think that we have figured out, but is more nuanced than we could ever kind of identify ourselves. There's so much complexity to our experience of identity, and it's also something that's incredibly pliable and can change on a dime. Like, you can totally change your entire identity on a dime by changing your behaviors and your perceptions and even the context or the environment that you live in. So identity is it's the way I've kind of looked at it is sort of a construct that we use to navigate through the world. And to me, I don't I don't identify with my identity, because I view character traits in terms of different beliefs that I've formed, and I'm able to kind of take a step. If you're talking about, like, from a spiritual perspective, they talk about the ego, and then or the personality and the witness and consciousness of the ego or the personality. And through my through a lot of the training and meditation and experiencing that witnessing consciousness and that removed version of self, I can look at my identity and how I navigate and how I relate, and I can witness it and not identify with it and be at liberty to change it. And so in a way, identity is sort of an avatar that you can sort of like upgrade or change or like swap out, like an outfit to a certain degree. But also consistency in your personality is useful for this navigation, because if you're a grounded member of your community one day and then a rodeo clown the next day, it's really going to throw people off, right? It'll be hard to navigate, because the factor of consistency and continuity of different character traits and behaviors are a part of how you navigate. So it's such a big topic. Oh my gosh.
It's interesting. Also, just on that same line, how hard that sometimes has been for me doing being a meditation teacher, but also having wild interests. I like to party at times and have wild experiences. But that is exactly the thing, and it has actually caused distrust. And some people are like, I don't know about this guy. Like, he's doing the thing, but he's also doing that thing, and I don't think people should be able to do two things. That has been somewhat conflictive for my public persona. And at the same time, I feel like the more comfortable I'm getting with who I am and the variance of experience, and also I'm just calming down significantly. I have a child and everything. But beyond that, let's picture I didn't calm down, because there's a part of me that still wants to be able to have. I was just saying to Lily the other day, I was like, when the time is right, I can't wait to just go off with you. Like, why don't we just take some MDMA and go for a weird festival? You know, like that would be super fun. So that's still a part of who I am. But also teaching presencing, teaching meditation, and teaching. It's not the meditation I teach is not about purity. It's just not. It never has been, never will be. Right? It's about being able to be aware of whatever is going on in any particular moment, which has actually made drug experiences so much more fun as well. Because whatever's going on in those situations is really
Just
cool.
with
it. I'm very present to the fact that I'm fucked right now.
Yeah, man, I feel like that process of coming into integrity with, or like not even coming into integrity, but just accepting that like as a human being there's multiple dimensions and they can coexist and not contradict each other beyond, you know, some people's social perceptions. Like you rock the shit out of teaching people presencing meditations. Like you're so good at it, it's so genuine and so authentic, just in the same way that you and I have had some crazy partying experiences, and it's like the most fun, and that is definitely just who you are. And I've gone through that too, man. Like I'm a musician, I'm creative as fuck. Like I like going off the rails a little bit, but I've also been a personal trainer where I'm like, oh, I should live this very routine, structured, healthy life so I can be a good example for the people at the gym. You know, it's like one of these things that I always felt was at conflict with myself was my love for physical development, health, and mental development, and then also the chaos and like lack of inhibition that comes with an artistic lifestyle. And same thing, as I'm coming on 30, I'm like, man, that's just who I am. I'm just a little bit of everything, hey, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, and that to me reminds me, it's a little bit different, but a Renaissance person, I believe it was Renaissance man, but I think person makes more sense. A Renaissance person was a person who would be able to cook and clean and dance and do math and play chess and work. And the idea is to be multidimensional, right? And to be able to have different aspects of self and just be as honest as we can with ourselves and others while it's happening, you know? One really interesting thing since having well, since Lily got pregnant, really is like a really huge change in my sexual identity that has actually been a bit, a bit not jarring, but empty. Like it was like I had such strong patterns around certain things, and then once Lily got pregnant, I was like, "That's what you're having sex for, isn't it?" My brain didn't really even correlate those two things. And then when she got pregnant, I was like, "Oh yeah, fuck, that's why you're even having sex." And then I was like, well, what the fuck is I doing then? And I was like, I don't know. And like I'm going through a thing and I was explaining because my drive has been a lot lower just because I'm just trying to reorient with who I am now and my identity as it's shifting. And I was saying the other day is like the weird part is I don't know where I stand with anything, but the cool part is this is brand new territory. So whatever evolution comes from this and whatever genuine movements and growth is not going to be the same pattern from before, but that's fucking cool and a bit scary because I don't know what exists beyond that.